In this video, we're going to tackle a very popular Christmas classic, Carol of the Bells. We are going to do it as a jazz waltz, and it is up-tempo, so nice and challenging to play. It's for intermediate to advanced people, but if you're a beginner, stick around because you want to be able to hear this and maybe think about what you're going to do in the future. So it's going to be a lot of fun to do. I'm going to walk you through the arrangement, then I'm going to show you how to get a hold of the sheet music, the backing track, and even the piano solo. So I'm going to get started in just a second with the tutorial part. Let me play it through once. This is a very, very cool arrangement, and it is about 4.5 minutes in length. So stick around because you're going to want to hear the entire thing, including the piano solo. When we come back, we're going to talk about it, give you some ideas on how to handle the arrangement. There's a few things that you need to be aware of before you start to practice it. And that's what we're going to be doing. So let me play the version for you first, and then we'll come back and discuss it. All right, so that's the arrangement of Carol of the Bells. I hope you enjoyed that. It's definitely going to be popular if you play this at your next Christmas concert or wherever you decide to play, and maybe even make a YouTube video out of it. That'd be pretty cool. So we have this motif that continues throughout. It's obviously the most recognizable thing about Carol of the Bells. And I think the fingering that you should use and that I always use is 4, 3, 4, 2. So a lot of people might play 3, 2, 1. It doesn't really fit under the fingers as nicely as 4, 3, 4, 2. So I want to just play that over and over again for a little bit till you get the hang of it. And then when it gets down to the next few bars, there is this thing that's written in thirds. Now, the way that it's written, I can tell you, I wrote it and I thought, geez, that's really difficult to play because this B flat repeats twice in each of these because, I mean, it's just really hard to do because you have to repeat that B flat. So instead of doing that, just delete the second B flat here, and that'll make it a lot easier to play. That's the way I played it in the recording, and you might wonder, oh, why doesn't it sound like it's written? And that's the answer. If you tried to repeat the B flat, it's so hard. And it gets a little clunky, so just kind of leave it out. I think you should be fine with that section. Let's go down a little bit, see what other trouble we can get ourselves into. That's all pretty straightforward. I love these chords that go through here, by the way. You can play these notes together. In other words, you can play it as if it were just this chord here and just delete those notes and play it on the beat. So together it's like... But if your hands are small and you have to kind of jump, I think it's better to play it like written. And then when you get to this part here, which is this scale, there is 8 notes in there, and you're going to need to know the fingering because it doesn't come out that even because obviously we're in 3/4 time, so 8 notes in there is not exactly countable. So what you need to do is, first of all, the fingering is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And of course, there's 8 notes in there. And what you want to do is just think about 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you just have to kind of keep that 3, 4 in your head while you're playing it and just get through it quickly. Because you're not going to be able to count through that. Okay, and then when you get to this section here where it's... You might want to do what I did, which is just throw in a little grace note here, which is like a C sharp. It's kind of a bluesy thing. And the reason why it's a bluesy thing is because eventually we are going to get into the solo, which is right here, because this is all repeat. And it says Improvise Solo. We're going to play in C minor blues. And I've written out a solo for it. It's not the one that I played in the recording, but it's a good solo. I've actually done it before. I just really didn't practice it. Felt like playing something new. So the solo is there. You can learn it. I hope you enjoy it. If you want to know more information about playing in minor blues, I'm going to put a link to a video up here in the corner where I've gone through minor blues scales and other things that you can play on minor blues, and that'll be really helpful if you want to improvise. So, but there's a couple of choruses of solo that I've written out. Should be really fun to learn. And then when we get down to the coda, this little section right here, these are triplet patterns. I'm not sure why the 3s didn't show up in here, but basically they're all triplets. But this is whole tone scale. Now, if you don't know what a whole tone scale is, it's basically every note or every interval in the scale is whole tone. So 3 notes, 3 notes. Now you can do the other whole tone scale, which is this one. It's basically only 2 of them. But this one is the whole tone scale, which is the 3 black notes together, the 3 white notes together, and you've got to play those as triplets. Very cool. And then triplets all the way to the top. And you can't see the whole thing in there, but basically here it is, where the left hand is going down from D flat. That's going to take you a little bit to practice. Definitely took me a little bit to get that together. And then it just kind of becomes automatic. And then of course, you've got this fade out at the end, which is basically this little part right here. I would suggest you kind of take a look at, which is this bar right here, where you've got the right hand doing this. The left hand is doing something like this. And I can tell you, syncopating that in your brain is not the easy thing. You'll see when you get to it, it might seem obvious, and I'm playing it, but I've played it many times. But I can tell you that I did go over that bar several times in my brain to kind of get it to come together as easily as that. So that's the arrangement. I'm going to put a link below for you to get your hands on the actual sheet music that I have here. Also the solo, the piano solo, and the backing track as well. I'm also thinking about doing a few more tutorials on Carol of the Bells, especially in the solo section. And we may or may not get to that, but essentially, you want to start practicing this now. I think we're about November the 7th, something like that. So you've got a little bit before Christmas to get this under your fingers. Definitely a cool arrangement. You're going to want to play this. I can tell you every time I play this, I actually did it on an album several years ago, and it was a big hit. So if you want to learn something cool this Christmas, this is probably the thing to learn. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because we've got lots of tutorials coming fast and furious, just like this one. So thanks for joining me. I really appreciate your time.